Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today it's another Rotted request, this time coming to us from Patron Jaki, who has requested that I view and review the 1996 David Cronenberg movie, Crash. And when I asked Jackie why this movie in particular, she says, because it's a David Cronenberg movie, and it has James Spader. True on both counts. Now, I have to say that I am in an interesting camp in that I do enjoy David Cronenberg's movies for the most part, but that's not to say that they all work for me, and I certainly don't fall into the category of a lot of folks that I see on Twitter and so forth that basically treat him as a can-do-no-wrong director. If I had to come up with two descriptors for his filmmaking style, and I apologize in advance for one of them, I would say that his work is largely challenging and moist.
The moist maker.
And in the nature of that challenging aspect, that does mean that some of his stuff can be a little bit hit or miss for me. And Crash is a movie that's been on my radar for a very long time now. I've known of it for a long while, but I've never actually gotten around to watching it, so I'm glad that I got this opportunity to basically do just that. So in this movie, we pick up with the character of James Ballard, played by James Spader, along with his wife Catherine, played by 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗀𝗀, as a married couple that is, well, not afraid to bring other people into the bedroom situation. I don't know about polyamorous in the strictest sense of things, but regardless, they do allow themselves to explore sexual freedom with other partners. And James, being a TV executive, gets that opportunity frequently, until he comes across a situation where he is distracted while driving on the freeway and gets into an automobile accident. This accident is fairly serious, but not life-threatening, as his leg is shattered in several places, and he has to undergo physical therapy and surgery along with months of recovery. But something strange kind of happened, because as he gets into the car accident, the passenger of the other vehicle, well, behaved strangely. And while he's recovering, he comes across a group of individuals that basically treat car accidents, automobile-related anything, and the notion of car crashes, twisted metal, approaching death, scars, and the smell of burning flesh as fetishist fare. This group, not really having necessarily a big hierarchy, but even so in the loosest sense, could be described as being led by the character of Vaughn, played by Elias Koteas. And the movie basically takes place showing the various ways that the characters go down this rabbit hole and spiral out of control from there. Now, before I watched this movie, I understood very well the nature of it, and I never really was able to wrap my head around it a whole lot. I have nothing against fetish practices, and the last thing that I do in the world is kink shame. However, the notion of being turned on by car accidents seemed to be a little bit, I don't know, self-defeating? Or at the very least, almost like a zero-sum game where I can't possibly see a positive end to it, almost like Vor and so on. Oh my god, this video is absolutely getting demonetized. But after having watched the movie, I can honestly say that although I still don't identify very well with the kink itself, I do very much identify with the storytelling and the characters within this movie. Or at the very least, not necessarily identify in a personal relationship kind of way, but appreciate what they were going through from an objective viewer of the characters themselves. Any of the questions that I would have asked myself before watching this movie, such as, wouldn't this not necessarily be a turn-on considering you're facing mortal danger? I would have to say, yeah, that's kind of the point. Wouldn't going down this sexual rabbit hole actually lead to more physical harm and damage? Yeah, that's kind of the point. Wouldn't going down this rabbit hole and facing this kind of bodily harm and damage lead ultimately to facing one-on-one with death? Yeah, that's kind of the point. I really did think that this was a beautiful movie in its own weird, twisted way, with characters that were very much disassociated with each other, with themselves, and with reality. And in that, I kind of found this to be a little bit of an odd watch, because it broke a lot of my own little internal rules as far as storytelling goes. It had characters that I didn't really latch onto on any emotional level, but I still found engaging. It didn't really set up any major conflicts in terms of anything for the characters to overcome, and if it did, it didn't really make a whole lot of effort for the characters to overcome them. It just kind of plowed forward, consequences of the characters be damned. And for a film that is rife with sex, and it is, at every turn there is sexual content, it was also one of the least erotic watches I've ever seen. More than anything, I just found Crash to be an interesting and even poetic watch. To see these characters just completely shove consequences right out the window and plow forward with reckless abandon as they only seek the next sexual adventure and the next car crash. It was very much like watching a car crash for an hour and a half while watching these characters speed ever onward and ever faster into the brick wall ahead. And although I can say with absolute honesty that this is not a movie for everybody, I am extremely glad that I watched it, and I'm extremely glad that Jackie requested it for me. So thank you very much, Jackie, and thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Remember, next time you want to watch any movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.